All praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Shem, Shah. Praise the Father. Okay, I got my stuff. Yeah, man. So, hey, Shalom, this is Brother Yuan, first and foremost. I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity, man. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Now, I was listening to Elder Gabar's lesson earlier today, and he went into humility a little bit and how it aligns up with humiliation, squirrels. All right, being a part of this truth, man, being humiliated is something that comes along with the walk. Remember that Yahweh Shah was humiliated, man. You go to Luke 22:63. It says what and the men that held Yahweh Shah mocked him and smote him. He was paraded in front of all of Israel, man, beaten. When they had that sign saying, "Oh, here's the King of the Jews," that was to mock him, man. He was humiliated at a very high level. And part of you being in this walk, counting the cost, man, you're gonna have to go through some humbling experiences too. And that's a spirit you should be in anyway. A humble, a humble, broken and contrite spirit, like the scriptures say. Actually, let me go get that. Um, broken, you're supposed to be broken and contrite. And let me get this real quick. You're supposed to serve him in fear and trembling as well. This is Psalms 34:18. Actually, I'll start at 17. The righteous cry, and the Lord heareth, and delivereth them out of all their troubles. And we know, pursuant to Sirach 2:1, that what? Temptation, when you come to serve the Lord, is mandatory. It's a rite of passage. All right. Psalms 34:17. The righteous cry, and the Lord heareth and delivereth them out of all their troubles. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. So that's the vibration you want to be in anyway. Okay. Now let's go to Luke for the 14th chapter, and we'll read the parable about counting the cost. And this is part of the cost being counted, man. You're gonna be abased. And a lot of people, most niggas, man, they'll do anything not to feel embarrassed, not to feel humiliated. And really, when somebody, I got the definition right here. When somebody feels humiliated, it's really this. It says, it is an emotion felt by a person whose social status, either by force or willingly, has just decreased. Okay? When you step into this walk, you're cutting your ties with the vibration of the world. So all your relationships, the people that you know, and all those connections that you had in the world, those people in the world itself is gonna look at you sideways, because now you mirror nothing that they're about. You become holy, you become separate from the world, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're not friends of the world. We know, like it says in James, to be a friend of the world is enmity with God. Personal testimony myself, playing college ball on TV every night, and then in the middle of that, I found this truth, man. And I was teaching on the weekend. The next day, I'll be on TV on ESPN. And the university was getting hate mail, all kind of things, man. People was looking at me sideways, but the Lord put the spirit on me, and I'm not trying to boast of myself or anything, but it's an example. The Lord put the spirit on me to realize that this was where my value was. It wasn't in status in the world. You see? We got next Mac put up James 1:2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, man. The same thing with King David. When one of Saul's men, that Benjamite, came cursing him out. Okay? He said, "Hey man, may the Lord count it for my good." Paraphrasing. That's the understanding that we should have. Okay? But let's go to Luke, the 14th chapter and the 28th verse. We'll start there. All right, it reads, "For which of you intending to build a tower," and we're building, man, we're building in the spirit. All right? So what we're building can't be seen by carnal eyes. So yeah, to the people in the world, those connections and the people that know you back in the old you that you casted away, They gonna look at you strange. They gonna look at you like you failed in a sense because you're doing this, because you don't do what you used to do. You're not who you used to be. That's okay. You know, that's how it should be. All right. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Now, I posed that question in the title because humiliation, which most niggas, they'll do anything not to be a base like that. You got jakes in the world that'll do it for a fraternity. They'll be a base and they'll go through hazing for a fraternity and be brought low and embarrassed because they know there's a tangible reward that they see for it. See, the Lord has to give you the gift of faith to actually see the reward you're going to receive for being, made fools in the world's eyes. People look at us as foolish. The foolishness of teaching. Let me get it. Let me go and get it, man. Instead of paraphrasing it, let me just go and get it. All right. Got two. Maybe I read both of these, huh? Let's read this one. This one, First Corinthians 1:18. It says, "For the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness." In the majority of the world, we know they're gonna perish on this side, especially here in Babylon, right? But unto us which are saved, it is the power of Yahweh. And not everybody has been given that gift to see it. Hey, Shalom, Elder Hawa is on the comment board. Shalom. Now we go back to Luke, the 14th chapter. So that's a part of the cost that you got to count. You're gonna be humiliated. You're gonna be brought low. You're gonna be abased sometimes. It's part of the walk, man. Rite of passage. Sirach 2:1. All right. Luke 14:29. Lest happily after he have laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him. Okay. Either way, once you start down this path, man, you're gonna be abased. Whether the Lord is doing it to break you and rebuild you up, okay, or whether you fail and you still get mocked by those in the world, man. And then on top of that, you're gonna be humiliated when the Lord returns. So you want to be humiliated for righteousness or humiliated and still get destroyed, man? Choose. As for me and my house, like the scripture saying, Joshua, we will serve the Lord, man. But you got a lot of guys who they get involved in this for the wrong reasons, whether it be for vainglory, clout, whether they just want to feel like somebody, they want to feel important. And you start to see that bleed through as time goes by. They start to make this truth about themselves. And the Lord will put the spirit on them to start going off. Like you see a lot of guys making light of what the son had to go through so that we can even have a way back to the Father. You see? The same way the Lord, like it says in Romans, the 1st chapter, how he can give somebody over to vile affections, he'll give somebody off to a vain philosophy, man. The scriptures say the deceived and the deceiver are his. And you got a lot of jakes who their heart wasn't in the right place when they started this thing. They're not in this for the right reasons. Okay? So now the Lord has put the spirit on them to teach these certain things and to begin to go off and to lead others who the Lord wants to destroy with them. So, you really got to be careful. And you got to have a fear for the Lord. There's a severe lack of fear for Yahweh Shem Yahweh. Continuing on, Luke 14:29. Lest happily after he have laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king going to make war against another king? And hey, this is a spiritual battle, man. It's a spiritual war, right? You got to consider all the things that you're doing. You got to constantly be focused on the game plan, following the commands from the Father. So your head's always going to be in the book. You're gonna be watching the signs of the times, man. You're gonna be watching what you're doing, examining ourselves constantly. There's a certain manner in which you're going to be conducting yourself if you're sincere in this walk. All right. Or else, Salakia, Luke 14:31. Or what king goeth to make war against another king, sitteth not down first and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000. Or else while the other is yet great way off, he sendeth an ambassage and desire conditions of peace. So you count the cost, man. And a lot of people, when they hear about this Israelite thing, they don't really count the cost. And oftentimes is wayward spirits that aren't sincere anyway, because the way this truth was presented to them was with gimmicks. They'll see a group put in rap videos or having banquets or having these award ceremonies, or they have the really nice garments on and it's a fashion show. So they get drawn in. They get drawn in for the wrong reasons. And then when the adversity comes and the humiliation comes, okay, you have to you have to really be rooted, and they're not able to stand. Okay, see what you guys got here. Yeah, and the like the brother put up John 15:18. Like the scriptures say, man, the servant isn't above his Lord, and we know that Yahushua was abased. He was humiliated. So we being his servants, do we get to finagle or maneuver our way around that part of the walk? No, man, we're gonna get it too. To his extent, most likely not, but some brothers, they're gonna earn every bit of the reward. John 15:8. Okay, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you, and it was written for our learning. Okay, verse 19. If ye were of the world would love his own, but because you're not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. And the world is just like we're turning up in the spirit, the wicked are turning up as well, man. And we're getting closer and closer to this truth being basically outlawed in the land. They're gonna be using those words like extreme. They're gonna clip together little snippets of things that we've said in a compilation and make it to where we're just the enemies of the world. We're what's wrong with the world. And they're gonna slap it in front of everybody's face. This Didier controls the media engine. So he's gonna slap all those little clips and snippets of brothers, and that's why we say, hey man, you know, use the word when you speak majority of the time. They're gonna slap all those things together and they're gonna put it in front of the people's face, in front of your family's faces. And people are gonna look at you in a low manner, man. But the elect are gonna obtain it. They're also gonna be people that are gonna realize, oh, let me see about these guys. Oh, what they're saying is true. The prophecies are playing out exactly the way the Lord's written. And there's gonna be some people who are seeking understanding in good faith, and some people who are lined up with this devil to destroy those that fear the Lord. That time is coming, man. But the only way you can be embarrassed by feel humiliated by the people in the world is if you value what they value. We don't value the things of the world. We don't value their opinions. We know these people are off, and we know their end at the end of the day. We know what their judgment is going to be. So you shouldn't feel that tug to where you're like, oh, I don't want to look bad. Man, fuck these people, bro. These people, they're headed for destruction. And that's why I love reading Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, because it lets you know that realization, that what their whole thought process and what they think is important, that they're going to come to the realization that it was all shit. Let me go to Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. All right, Wisdom of Solomon. Let me 5:1. It says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. And we're standing boldly in front of those who oppressed us, brought us into bondage, those who have that perpetual hatred towards us, pursuing Ezekiel, the 35th chapter, and the 5th verse. All right. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. So when the elect are being delivered, man, people are going to be like, what? What? And then it goes on to say what? And they repenting, then they're going to repent. They're going to realize that they were wrong. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he. So that same person they mocked, they ridiculed, they're going to realize, oh, the Lord was dealing with him. He's the cream of the crop. She's the cream of the crop. You see? And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. Man, so screw these people. Their opinions and their expectations of what value is, their standard, it doesn't matter. It's actually really low. Your standard is of darkness, man, and not light. Okay. Now let's go to and the reason Elder Gabar made that lesson because you had Zabak. It was a ceremony that they were having, his acknowledgement of eldership or something, and he was like, man, look, nobody has finished the course yet. Nobody knows if they've made it yet. You know, this isn't the time to be lifted up. And he was right. You know, and there's a certain spirit we're supposed to be. There's a time and season to everything under heaven. Right now isn't the time for men to be lifted up. Right now isn't the time for men to be being honored by other men. The true honor comes when Yahweh Shah sets the crowns on the elect's head, like it says in Second Ezra. All right, and that's true. He was spot on, man, and that's what inspired this lesson. Okay, let's go to Matthew, the 23rd chapter. Let's get into that. Matthew, the 23rd chapter, and the 12th verse. All right, it reads, "And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased." And you got a lot of people who are teaching wayward doctrines. General Yohana, Nate, all these other Sakari, I forgot the nigga Alizé. All right, all these niggas are exalting themselves and going off in doctrine, might I add, exalting themselves. What's going to happen? The Lord's going to bring them low. But those who are abasing themselves now are going to what? Be exalted upon the Lord's return, man. So yeah, people mock. They can say we're the worst group and we're rapists. That's what they say, which is clearly not true. And that's the only thing they can even say to say that. Oh, look. They don't even have a legit reason why we're the so-called worst group, except the fact that we rebuke them when they're going off. He that being often reproved hardeneth his neck, and that's why they're mad at us. You know, Matthew 23 and 12 once more. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased. All right, there's a checklist you can kind of, once you go through the scriptures enough, you start to see a pattern. You start to see image of a man is painted. The conduct of a man is painted. Once you start to go back and forth through the scriptures, you see, oh, a true man of the Lord will be doing this, huh? Image of how a man of the Lord should be is painted very vividly when you go back and forth through the book. All right. And he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. And then it says the same thing when you go to Luke, the 14th chapter, in a different way, right? 11. For whosoever exalted himself should be abased, and he that humbled himself should be exalted. All right. Now let's go to 1 Peter's, the 5th chapter, and we'll get straight to the point, the 5th verse. All right. So that there's a certain order, there's a certain integrity, there's a certain kind of respect that you should have within this thing amongst brethren, amongst people, the men that the Lord uses to teach you. Okay. 1 Peter 5 and 5. Likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto elder. There's a saying in the world that they say, before you can lead, you must learn how to follow. Okay, but the reason that is, when you're put in a position of leadership and you had to submit and watch and see how leadership should be, you know, and the mistakes a leader could make, and how to, you know, how things work, you know, when you're in that position of submission and being under someone. When you're put in that position of leadership, you know both sides. When you're making certain judgment calls, you're not making it without understanding the duality, you know, of that position. You know that okay, there's certain things I can't require of every brother, or put on this man because it might be a burden unto him. Oh, this man, I do have to put more responsibility. This is a man that needs more responsibility so that he can grow. You know, you learn the different facets. You must learn how to follow before you can lead. You know, and hey, Elder Yashwamba is a great example. Elder Manasseh Akbar too. All these men that I've been around, they're great examples. Before they were put in these positions, they saw the good in leadership and they saw the bad in leadership, So now that they're in these positions, it's like when situations arise, they're like, oh, I seen this before. Elder Hillwatt as well, great example. They're like, oh, I seen this before. All right. So before you put in a leadership position, you got to learn how to follow. And you got some niggas that are in leadership positions amongst these different congregations who haven't learned the aspects, the real aspects of leadership, of counsel, on how to deal with problems that arise. And you see it made manifest, and then we go in and we rebuke and we correct, and then they get mad. All right. Yeah. Again, man, because their heart wasn't in the right place when they started down this walk, and it's being made manifest in front of all of Israel. All right. Now this Philippians 2:3. All right. Just to dig into that point. Philippians 2:3. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than themselves, man. And you'll see that amongst the Brotherhood of Great Millstone. Men don't we don't think more highly of ourselves than we ought to think, man, because we know the Lord can take the spirit, and we've seen it personally. The Lord can take the spirit from anybody He wants to take it from, like that. So we serve Him in fear and trembling, man, in hopes that we get to be a part of that number, not walking around like we already sealed. There's a severe lack of fear amongst the nation, man. All right, continuing on, verse 4. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others, which is what we do. We police one another so that we walk uprightly, correct? Let this mind be in you, which also was in Yahushua Mashiach. But a lot of niggas don't have this mind, and it's being made manifest because they say what? Oh, Yahushua was just a man. He didn't do miracles. Oh, nobody can die for your sin. They're starting to, the spirit is being roused up again, which these are the same niggas that were saying crucify him back in that time, which is why they're making light of what the Lord had to go through. They're making light of His stripes so that we could be healed. They're making light of those stripes, man. They're unappreciative of what the Son had to go through. So in turn, man, they're not going to receive of the benefits of protection and salvation when the calamities and the hell that the Lord is going to bring upon the earth when it gets rolling. Okay. Verse 5 again. Let this mind be in you, which also was in Yahushua Mashiach. Don't follow me. Which also was in Yahushua Mashiach, who being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God. All right. But made himself of no reputation. And that's what we all are supposed to do. You see, our apostles and elders, they don't make themselves of some reputation. Men show them reverence. Yeah, but they don't double down on it, man, like a lot of niggas are doing. It's sad to see. Okay. Verse 7. But made himself of no reputation and took upon him the form of a servant. Well, at the end of the day, even a king, man, or a righteous king, I should say, is a servant. He's a servant to his people. He's a shepherd. He's making sure the sheep are headed in the right direction. He's constantly watching. He dedicates his time and his efforts to making sure they're in good case. But then, a wicked king, he doesn't operate in that vibration, man. Okay, continuing on. Verse 8. And being found in the fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross, man. So he gave himself up for the sheep. He abased himself for the sheep because and that's what a lot of Jakes don't understand. This is bigger than you or your ego being stroked. All right, let's go hit some quick ones here, and then I'm gonna wrap up because I gotta go back to work. First, Proverbs 22:4. By humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor in life. So humility is a reoccurring theme in the scriptures, man. It's a reoccurring theme or a reoccurring character trait that's supposed to be added unto you when you're seeking the Lord in sincerity. That's one of the traits that's supposed to be added unto you. And if somebody's lacking a bunch of these traits, man, something's up. Okay? 1 Peter 5:6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that He may exalt you in due time. Again, Those who are exalting themselves now, upon the Lord's return, they're going to be brought low. But those that are humbling and abasing themselves in this time, all right, making themselves with no reputation, the same way that Yahweh Shah was operating, upon the Lord's return, man, they're going to be glorified. So you want the honor from men, you want the recognition from the world, which is, it ain't shit, or do you want recognition from the Master of the universe and His Son, man, who unto Him has been bestowed everything? Which one? And the recognition from, like Elder Gabar said in his lesson, man, a dude to give you props today, and he'll cuss you out tomorrow. But if the Lord honors you, man, that's going to be an everlasting glory upon your head. You want something temporary and fickle and short, or do you want the big picture? You got to see the big picture in this thing, man. Our goal here, we teaching and we do this and we labor every day in hopes that we receive salvation, not clout, not recognition from the world, not to seem like the guy. It's not about that. That'll come later, man, by default. Romans 12:3. I quoted it earlier, but I'll read it. Romans 12:3. For I say, through grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God have dealt to every man the measure of faith. All right. In James 4:10, it says, humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up. So, we're not to resemble the world in any fashion, man. So you shouldn't be, adding in worldly concepts or gimmicks so that you can get recognition from the world or seem cool or try to have some kind of station in this kingdom, in this place. You understand? So, I'll read this and I'll read some on the comment board. That'll be it. This is my last precept. It's James 1:27. It says, pure religion, undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction and to keep himself unspotted from the world, man. You don't want any resemblance of the world upon you. Plain and simple. All right. We got next. Mac puts up Luke 17:10. It says, so likewise ye, when ye shall have done all those things which are commanded of you, say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done that which is our duty to do. Yeah, man. This is our like the scripture say. I'll get it. Reasonable service. It's Romans 12:1. It says, I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, separate from the world, separate from all the bullshit, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And it goes on to say, and be not conformed to this world, but be transformed in the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh. Very plain, man. So, I'm gonna close it up right there, man. Lord willing, it was edifying. But quick 30-minute lesson, man. I'm gonna try to do these, as much as I can when I get off. But with that being said, I'm gonna give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakadash. I'm gonna give double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and I'm gonna say Shalom to all the brothers, and of course the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.